Okay, let's just dive right into it. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're pulling directly from A Home Buyer's Guide, which was put together by Trudy and David Hayes over at the Right Move team. If you've ever felt like buying a home is this wildly overwhelming experience, trust me, you are absolutely not alone. But the reality is, it's actually pretty straightforward once you understand the playbook. So, we're going to break down the exact steps you need to take to navigate purchasing a home, specifically here in New Jersey. Let's map this whole thing out together.
First things first, getting the right people in your corner. This is literally the most critical step if you want to save time, money, and, let's be honest, your sanity. The guide makes a really strong point right away. Working directly with a listing agent, probably not your best move. Why? Well, think about it. They have a legal duty to the seller. They're getting paid to get the absolute best price and terms for the seller, not for you. You really need your own dedicated buyer's agent, someone who gets exactly what you're looking for, knows the local pricing, and has a whole network of lenders and lawyers ready to go.
So, to keep things crystal clear, we're going to walk chronologically through 5 main phases today: preparation and search, offers and attorney review, inspections and waivers, the mortgage appraisal process, and finally, the closing. Starting off with phase 1, preparation and search. This is where we lay the groundwork before you even look at a single house. Okay, so your prep work basically comes down to establishing relationships with 3 essential professionals. You need your buyer's agent, your mortgage lender, and an experienced real estate attorney. Getting these 3 pillars locked in early, that is exactly what separates a stressful, chaotic search from a smooth, successful one. Now, there's actually a pretty fascinating new rule that kicked in recently. Starting August 1st, 2024, buyers and their agents in New Jersey must have a written agreement right from the start. It outlines the length of your engagement and exactly how the broker gets compensated. It's all about total transparency. And as the guide points out, this isn't really as massive a shift as it sounds. Buyers have kind of always indirectly paid the commission, it was just hidden because it passed through the seller first. Now, everything is just clear and upfront. So why do you need both a lender and an attorney before you even find a house? Well, they serve different immediate purposes. Getting pre-approved by a lender confirms your exact spending power, and it proves to sellers that you actually have the money. That approval is usually good for about a 3-month window. At the exact same time, locking in a real estate attorney early means that the second your offer is accepted, you are completely ready to roll. Trust me, you do not want to be scrambling around looking for legal help when the clock is already ticking. Moving right along to phase 2, offers and attorney review, making things official. Now here's a quirk about New Jersey real estate that you really need to understand. Almost all residential contracts here start as a generic template. So when you submit an offer and it gets signed, you enter what's called attorney review. Because the contract is generic, it is perfectly normal for your attorney to immediately reject it. Seriously, do not panic if this happens. It's totally standard. They reject it just so they can tweak the terms and protect your specific interests. And the best part, during this attorney review period, either side, buyer or seller, can cancel the whole thing for any reason, no questions asked. You are completely protected. Once both sides actually agree on those contract changes, boom, you are officially under contract. At this point, the seller is locked in. They can't accept any other offers. To secure this, you're going to make 2 deposits. Typically, you drop an initial $1,000 right away. Then within about 10 days, you owe a second deposit. The guide notes this can be as little as 3% of the purchase price, but pro tip, offering a larger chunk for that second deposit can make your offer look incredibly strong to a seller. Next up, phase 3, inspections and waivers, entering the due diligence phase. Okay, time to bring in the pros for a comprehensive home inspection. Now, if you're in a super competitive market, a great strategy to win a bidding war is to waive your right to ask for minor cosmetic repairs. But, and this is a big but, you must reserve your right to negotiate on 4 critical things: mechanical systems, safety concerns, structural integrity, and environmental issues. Basically, you're telling the seller, hey, I won't nickel and dime you over a scratched floorboard, but if the roof is caving in or the furnace is dead, we're definitely going to have to talk. All right, phase 4, the mortgage appraisal process. Let's make sure the numbers make sense. So, this brings us to a potential roadblock. Your lender is going to send an appraiser to make sure the home is actually worth what you're paying. If it appraises for the purchase price, awesome. But what if it doesn't? Let's say you offer $400,000, planning to get an 80% mortgage. The lender expects to give you $320,000. But if the appraiser comes back and says, nope, it's only worth $380,000, the lender is only going to give you 80% of that lower number. That's $304,000. Suddenly, yikes, you have a $16,000 funding shortfall. This can be a real nail-biter. if you do get hit with a low appraisal, you basically have three options to save the deal. Option 1. If you've got the cash, you just pay the difference out of pocket. Option 2, you ask the lender to bump up your mortgage percentage, though keep in mind that might trigger extra mortgage insurance premiums. Or Option 3, you go back to the seller and try to renegotiate the price. And honestly, because this exact scenario happens so often, it's why sellers really love offers that have a higher cash portion right from the start.
And finally, phase 5, the closing. This is the big one, finalizing the deal. Right before the closing, usually the day before or the morning of, you're going to do a final walkthrough. The house should be totally empty by now. You are just there to double check that everything matches the contract. Did they actually fix the things they promised to fix? Did they leave the washer and dryer like they said they would? And, most importantly, did they accidentally punch a hole in the drywall while moving their couch out? The closing itself usually happens at your attorney's office or maybe a title company. Fun fact, the seller usually signs their stuff in advance and doesn't even show up. But you will be there, and you need to be ready for the closing costs. Everyone's exact numbers are going to be a little different, but as a solid ballpark, expect to pay around $2,500 for your attorney fees and roughly 0.5% of your total purchase price for title costs and insurance. And there is one more really important number you need to keep in mind, and that number is 3. A huge chunk of the money you need to bring to closing is actually a mandatory 3-month prepayment to your lender. They use this to set up an escrow account for your mortgage, real estate taxes, and home insurance. Now, to be clear, this isn't some sneaky fee the lender is charging you. It's literally just prepaying your own future bills. But it does mean you need a significant amount of liquid cash ready to go on closing day. But once all those papers are signed and the money clears, that's it. You are handed the keys. Congratulations! So now that you know the formal steps, the strategy behind your deposits, and what closing actually costs, the real question is, are you ready to start your search? Because if you are, you can reach out to Trudy and David Hayes at the Rightmove team today. They can safely and expertly guide you right through your path to homeownership in New Jersey. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, happy house hunting!